Hello everybody, welcome to this YouTube video on how to make a Magic the Gathering deck. First, what you want to do is open up your application of choice that you want to show the deck in. So like if you want to add a deck, I use this one, you just add a deck like that. I'm going to add a card, you find a card like, oh this is a good card, add that. You're going to go to scryfall.com, it's going to be your friend whenever you're making a Magic deck. The Windows key plus an arrow key get you into two areas like this, so you can easily look at cards over here, put your cards in over here. If you're using an app that is a bar, or I'm in one of these, then you can do that same thing with this. Go to Scryfall, and if you want inspiration for a deck you want to make, just press random card, it'll bring you to a random card. This is a vanilla creature. No one wants to make a deck on a vanilla creature, so let's just do that again. Swamp Walk, not very special. Scavenge, I've never heard of that actually.
So exile this card from your graveyard, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature.
That is cool, but not really interesting. So let me random card again. I'll do this until I find something interesting. I found one. That's pretty good. You just pay a green and tap, put a creature card from your hand onto play. So if I scroll down, it is legal in Modern, and it is kind of expensive because the cheapest one is $1.20. So if you want to keep a budget one, I'd go for, if your best card is 50 cents, that's completely fine. Unless it's like $1.20 and you want to have like only one or two of them. So I'm just going to search up Elvish Piper. And then put, let's do 4 of those into my deck. So now I'm pretty sure my strategy is going to be big creatures. That'd be pretty obvious. One way, if you don't know a lot of cards, you go card analysis on EDH Rec, open link in new tab. EDH Rec is just like another best friend. And you go to high synergy cards, you'll find cards that go really well with that. If I find one like this, it's 6 for a 6/6, 7 for a 5/5, with other things obviously. Okay, so if I go to here, this is what I can do. Do this, and then search that. It'll search anything in Modern, like anything legal in Modern. You can also do S for Standard, stuff like that, C for Commander, L for Legacy. I'm going to do Modern, and then I'm going to look for things that are at converted mana cost of at least 7, so greater than 7. Also, if I want to make it kind of cheap, you can make it so it's the USD, meaning US dollars, is less than 10 cents. This is 0.10. I'm going to do 20 cents though. Oh, another thing you could do is ID is green, so this is the color ID. So if you just do G, then it'll only show cards that are green or colorless. If you do green, blue, U is blue for some reason, then it'll show blue creatures, green creatures, or not just creatures, but anyway, green. So another thing you can do is here, if you have this full screened, it'll probably show sorted by, instead of doing name, this is default. You could do EDH Rec rank. It just knows which ones are better because not all cards are created equally. This says only creature cards, so this won't work. Another thing you can do is the type is a creature. All these syntax things you can find here, syntax guide. So this is a 11/11 that we would be saving 8 mana on by tapping this. So I would put Titanoth Rex. I'd put a couple of those in my deck. If you know that one is going to be really good for this certain deck, then you can put more of them than there are. Like if this one wasn't very good but this one was, you can put 1 of these and 4 of these or something. I'm going to put 2. When this enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent. So you can destroy their artifacts or something. It dies if it had no +1, -1/-1 counters on it. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with +1, with a -1/-1 counter on it. That's cool. 7 and a red, or in a green. You'd be saving 7 mana by tapping this. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. That's pretty cool for an enter the battlefield thing. Good card draw, so Book Worm. I'm gonna add a couple of those. Trample and Hexproof. That's cool because if they have one of those decks that's like no one likes to play against this deck. Another thing I have to keep track of is not to have too many really expensive cards and then hope that I get this. If you have 60 cards and you draw 7 cards, a 1 in 7 chance that you would get one of these. So that wouldn't be very effective. So another thing you could do is you can search for Elvish Piper again. Go down to the toolbox, card analysis, yet again, similar cards. So there's this thing which is actually cheaper, but you have to pay 4 still instead of just 1. This is a really good card too. It's basically the same thing, except it has to attack, so if they, you know, like block it with a 5/5, then it's gonna die, so you can only do it once unless they have like a 2/5 or something. So I could put a couple of those in there. Champion of Ranas. I'll put 4. Oh, another thing I have to look up is this legal in modern, because this automatically searches if it's legal in Commander. So if you do the same format modern, you can see it's legal in modern. So yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna change this to 5, and then you can see more really good cards. When it enters the battlefield, create 4/1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. That's pretty good. Hornet Queen. That's pretty good. Power is equal to the number of lands you control. That's pretty good. Like if it's turn 7, usually it would be a 7/7, but by the time we play this, it's only going to be a 4/4, so it's not going to be that good. Okay, I think I'm going to add a couple mana ramps. So instead of searching if it's anything that costs more than 5 mana, I'm going to search that it has the text. Search anything within these quotations. You can search whenever you cast a spell, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. That would seem pretty good because we've been casting 8 costs every single turn, or like every time we tap this guy. But we're not technically casting because it's putting a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. But my point is you can do tap, that's the tap symbol, add green. So you can search for anything that taps add green. Elvish Mystic right there, that's pretty good. Elvish Mystic. 4 of those. This makes things tap for mana as well, but it's +1/+1 counters, and +1/+1 counters isn't really our strategy. Actually, we can make it our strategy. When you cycle this, put a trample counter on target creature you control. Each creature you control with a counter on it has tap add green. So actually this would be pretty good. So I'm going to rethink my strategy. I'm only going to put 3 of these in here because they're legendaries. I'm going to, when I look up more big creatures, I'm going to look up more that have to do with counters. I'm looking for a specific card that I did see somewhere. This says as long as it's modified, it has add 2. Modified is equipment, auras, and counters. This one is what I was looking for. Or this. So you can pay a green and tap, discard a card to create basically this Llanowar Mentor. The reason I think it's good in our strategy is because you pay mana, and it's easy to have extra mana when all you have in your hand is a 8 cost. You can spare 1 more mana. Tap and discard a card, so you're going to have to discard a card, but that's fine because we're not going to be playing as many because most of them are going to be 8 cost. To create a 1/1 with tapping to add mana, 3 of those. Would this be good? Yeah, I think it would. Just 2 of those. We got enough add mana things. More things that have counters. Instead of searching tap add green, you can search for counter. And then we can redo the CMCs greater than 5. Converted mana cost. This enters the battlefield with counters and does damage, but that's not that good because it's 6 for a 4/4. If it was kicked, it enters with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. This kicker you can only do when you cast it, and if you're putting it onto the battlefield, then it doesn't count. I'm gonna raise the limit. That's really good. When it dies, it does things, and it has flying, so we don't have anything to block creatures with flying yet. Okay, now I'm going to search for creatures that have a counter on them. I'm going to look for similar cards yet again. Maybe I can look for all these. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on this, you may create a 4/4 beast. That's pretty good. Is it legal? Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Is that legal and modern as well? Yes, it is. So at this point, if you have this, the Herd Baloth, and this, then it's an infinite combo, I think. Infinite creature tokens, infinite ETB, infinite +1/+1 counters on this guy. And it's only 15 cents plus 10 cents plus 14 cents. So that's not bad. So now we're at 44 in our main deck, which is way too many. You should have about 36 in your main deck, not including lands. I'm just going to do basic forest. If you want to do the same setup for lands, you can look for non-basic lands. You want to have at least 24 lands. Kind of depends on the deck. This one I'm going to take out because it's 7/7 for 8 with trample. That's pretty average. Does the same thing, 2 less, and it also says when it deals combat damage to the player, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of basic land type among lands you control. So it's only going to be 1 actually. And I'm going to take that out. This one is part of the strategy, same with this one, so I'm going to keep all those in. This is hexproof, which can be really nice, so I'm going to keep one of those in. This is a card I was just remembering. 6 is all for an 8/8, so that's really good value, and it says other creatures you control have trample, so I'm going to put 3 of those in there, because trample's pretty good. Although, a lot of our creatures already do have trample. I'm going to take this out. It's not that good. Alright, so this is a pretty balanced deck. I'm going to put this in the description. I'm going to put a paste bin, or whatever it's called. So I'm just going to save this. Green, boring biggies. When you do copy the deck in the description for certain things, you can load deck from clipboard, and it shows these. I hope this was informative. Goodbye.